Are you unknowingly shortening your life after 70 with these 12 deadly mistakes that millions of seniors make every single day? I'm about to reveal 4 phrases you must stop saying immediately, 4 actions you must stop doing right now, and 4 places you must never visit alone if you want to live safely and independently well past 70. There's one place that 80% of seniors over 70 visit regularly that emergency room doctors now call a hidden death trap, and I'll reveal exactly which one in just a few minutes. Vivian, a sharp 73-year-old from Denver, thought she was doing everything right to stay healthy and independent. Then, in one devastating week, something she said to her doctor, a daily habit she refused to change, and a place she visited every Wednesday nearly cost her everything she'd worked a lifetime to build. What happened to Vivian happens to thousands of seniors every month, but it doesn't have to happen to you. Thing 1. Never say, "I'm too old to learn new technology." When you tell yourself or others that you're too old to learn new technology, you're literally rewiring your brain for failure and accelerated cognitive decline. Research from Harvard Medical School's Department of Neurology shows that seniors who embrace learning new skills, especially technology, maintain sharper cognitive function and significantly slower brain aging compared to those who resist change. Dr. Alvaro Pascual Leone's groundbreaking neuroplasticity studies demonstrate that the brain continues forming new neural pathways well into our 80s and beyond, but only when we challenge it with new learning experiences. The moment you say those 7 deadly words, you're programming your mind to shut down its natural ability to adapt and grow. Harvard researchers found that seniors who regularly engage with new technology show 40% better memory retention and 35% faster processing speeds than those who avoid it. Your brain interprets your words as instructions, and when you repeatedly say you're too old to learn, you're essentially telling your neural networks to stop forming new connections. Consider the story of Harvey, a 76-year-old retired mechanic from Portland who refused to touch a smartphone for 3 years after his children bought him one. His memory started declining, and he felt increasingly isolated and confused. The moment he decided to learn one new app each week, his cognitive test scores improved dramatically within just 2 months. Harvey now manages his medical appointments, stays connected with family, and even learned online banking, proving that age is never a barrier to learning. Replace that toxic phrase immediately with this powerful alternative. I'm discovering something new today. These 6 words activate your brain's learning centers and signal your neural pathways to stay open and flexible. Start with just 5 minutes daily exploring one new feature on your phone, computer, or tablet. Don't wait another day to start rewiring your brain for success instead of decline. Thing 2. Never say, "The doctor knows what's best for me." Blind medical compliance after 70 can literally be deadly, according to medication safety research from the Mayo Clinic. Doctor. Robert Pignon's studies reveal that seniors who never question their doctors experience 40% more dangerous drug interactions and undergo 60% more unnecessary procedures than those who actively participate in their healthcare decisions. The Mayo Clinic's Patient Safety Division reports that medication errors affecting seniors increase dramatically when patients don't ask questions or advocate for themselves during medical appointments. When you automatically defer to medical authority without asking questions, you're surrendering control over decisions that directly impact your life expectancy and quality of life. The Mayo Clinic found that seniors who ask specific questions during appointments catch potential medication errors 70% more often than passive patients. Your doctor sees dozens of patients weekly and may not remember your complete medical history or current concerns unless you speak up and stay engaged. Stanley, a 74-year-old from Tampa, discovered this life-saving truth when he finally started questioning his doctor's recommendations. For months, he'd been experiencing dizziness and fatigue, but never mentioned it, because he assumed his doctor would address anything important. When Stanley learned to ask 3 specific questions at each appointment, his doctor realized a medication combination was causing his symptoms and immediately adjusted his treatment. Stanley's energy returned within days, and he avoided what could have been a dangerous fall. Transform your next medical appointment by asking these 3 essential questions every single time. What exactly are you prescribing, and why? What are the potential side effects I should watch for? And how will this interact with my current treatments? Write these questions down before your appointment and don't leave until you get clear, understandable answers. Your life literally depends on becoming an active participant in your healthcare decisions starting today. Thing 3, never say, "I don't want to be a burden." This seemingly considerate phrase is actually a death sentence in disguise, according to research from the American Geriatric Society on senior independence and mortality rates. Dr. Catherine McLean's longitudinal studies show that seniors who refuse help when they need it experience 45% higher rates of emergency hospitalizations and 30% shorter life expectancies than those who build strong support networks early. The fear of being a burden prevents millions of seniors from getting help when small problems are still manageable, allowing minor issues to spiral into life-threatening crises. When you refuse assistance because you don't want to burden others, you're actually creating a much bigger burden later when your situation becomes an emergency. The American Geriatric Society found that seniors who ask for help early require 60% less intensive intervention than those who wait until they're in crisis. Your family and friends would much rather help you maintain your independence than watch you lose it completely because you waited too long to reach out. Consider what happened to Jerome, a proud 71-year-old from Phoenix, who noticed he was having trouble managing his finances but refused to ask his daughter for help. Within 6 months, unpaid bills had damaged his credit. His utilities were nearly shut off, and he was facing eviction. When Jerome finally asked for assistance, his daughter helped him set up automatic bill payments in one afternoon, completely solving a problem that had grown unnecessarily catastrophic. Jerome now realizes that asking for help early actually preserved his independence instead of threatening it. Reframe your thinking immediately by replacing "I don't want to be a burden" with "I'm building my support team." Start today by identifying 3 people you could call for different types of help. 1 for transportation, 1 for household tasks, and 1 for emotional support. Reach out to each person this week and let them know you're creating a mutual support network. Don't wait until you desperately need help to discover who's willing to provide it. Thing 4. Never say, "My memory problems are just normal aging." Dismissing memory changes as normal aging can cost you precious years of cognitive function and may prevent you from receiving treatments that could dramatically slow or even reverse your symptoms. Johns Hopkins School of Medicine researchers, led by Dr. Marilyn Albert, have found that many conditions causing memory problems in seniors are completely treatable when caught early, including vitamin deficiencies, sleep disorders, depression, and medication side effects. Their Baltimore longitudinal study of aging shows that seniors who report memory concerns immediately maintain better cognitive function than those who ignore early warning signs. The dangerous myth that memory loss is inevitable after 70 prevents millions of seniors from getting potentially life-changing help. Johns Hopkins neurologists report that up to 40% of memory problems in seniors stem from treatable conditions that have nothing to do with dementia or Alzheimer's disease. When you dismiss memory changes as normal, you're potentially missing the narrow window when intervention can make the biggest difference in preserving your cognitive abilities. Brenda, a 72-year-old teacher from Seattle, started forgetting familiar words and losing her train of thought mid-sentence. Instead of dismissing these changes, she immediately scheduled a comprehensive evaluation with her doctor. Testing revealed that a combination of sleep apnea and vitamin B12 deficiency was causing her symptoms. After 3 months of treatment, Brenda's memory and concentration returned to normal, and she avoided years of unnecessary cognitive decline. Report any memory change to your healthcare provider within 48 hours of noticing it, no matter how minor it seems. Keep a simple notebook where you record specific examples of memory concerns, including dates and circumstances. Schedule a comprehensive cognitive evaluation that includes blood tests, sleep studies, and medication reviews to identify all possible treatable causes. Early detection and intervention can preserve your mental sharpness for decades to come. Thing 1. Never ignore balance, problems, or dizziness. Dismissing balance issues or dizziness as simply getting older is one of the most dangerous mistakes you can make after 70. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that falls are the leading cause of injury-related death among seniors, with one American over 65 dying from a fall every 19 minutes. CDC data shows that even mild balance problems increase your fall risk by 300%. And once you fall once, your risk of falling again doubles within the following year. Balance problems after 70 are never normal and always indicate an underlying issue that needs immediate attention. The CDC's injury prevention research reveals that 95% of hip fractures in seniors result from falls, and 20% of seniors who fracture their hips die within 1 year from complications. What starts as occasional dizziness or feeling slightly unsteady can quickly progress to a fall that ends your independence permanently and dramatically shortens your life expectancy. Kathleen, a 69-year-old from Boston, noticed she felt slightly dizzy when standing up but convinced herself it was just part of aging. 3 weeks later, she fell in her bathroom and broke her wrist, requiring surgery and months of physical therapy. During her recovery, doctors discovered that her dizziness was caused by an easily treatable inner ear condition and a blood pressure issue that could have been resolved with simple interventions if she'd sought help immediately. Start doing these 3 simple balance exercises every morning before you get out of bed. Stand on one foot for 30 seconds, walk heel to toe across your bedroom, and practice standing up from a chair without using your hands. If any of these exercises feel difficult or make you dizzy, call your doctor that same day. Don't wait for a fall to get the help you need, because your next stumble could be your last. Thing 2. Never skip meals or eat alone. Constantly. Eating irregularly or dining alone most of the time creates a dangerous downward spiral that can rapidly destroy your health and independence after 70. The National Institute on Aging's nutrition research shows that 30% of seniors become malnourished, not because food isn't available, but because they lose interest in eating when meals become solitary, rushed, or forgotten. Malnutrition in seniors leads to weakened immune systems, increased fall risk, slower wound healing, and significantly higher rates of hospitalization. When you skip meals or eat alone constantly, your body begins shutting down non-essential functions to conserve energy, starting with muscle mass and bone density. The National Institute on Aging found that seniors who eat irregular meals lose muscle mass 40% faster than those who maintain consistent eating schedules. Social isolation during meals also contributes to depression and cognitive decline, creating a vicious cycle where poor eating leads to worse health, which leads to more isolation and even poorer nutrition. Ralph, a 73-year-old widower from Milwaukee, started skipping breakfast and often forgot about lunch after his wife passed away. Within 4 months, he'd lost 25 pounds, felt constantly tired, and caught every cold that went around his neighborhood. His doctor warned that continued weight loss could land him in the hospital. Ralph joined a senior dining program at his local community center, started setting meal alarms on his phone, and regained his strength within 2 months. Set 3 daily alarms on your phone labeled breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and don't ignore them even if you don't feel hungry. Find at least one eating companion each week, whether it's a neighbor, family member, or local senior dining group where you can share meals and conversation. Prepare simple, nutritious meals ahead of time when you have energy, so healthy food is always ready when meal alarms go off. Your body can't afford to miss another meal. Thing 3, never drive when you feel slightly off. Getting behind the wheel when you feel even slightly tired, dizzy, confused, or not quite right can turn your car into a deadly weapon that threatens your life and the lives of others. AARP's research on senior driving safety shows that reaction times slow by up to 40% when seniors drive during moments when they feel slightly off, and the risk of accidents increases by 250% compared to driving when feeling completely alert and focused. What seems like a minor inconvenience to wait or ask for a ride can prevent a tragedy that changes multiple lives forever. Your brain's ability to process multiple streams of information while driving declines significantly when you're experiencing any form of physical or mental distress. AARP's driving studies reveal that seniors who continue driving when feeling unwell cause 60% more accidents than those who honestly assess their condition before getting behind the wheel. The split-second decisions required for safe driving become impossible when your cognitive resources are already compromised by fatigue, medication effects, or physical discomfort. Mitchell, a 70-year-old from Dallas, felt slightly lightheaded one morning, but decided to drive to his doctor's appointment anyway because he didn't want to bother his son. Halfway there, his dizziness worsened, and he rear-ended another car at a red light, injuring himself and a young mother in the other vehicle. Mitchell's honest assessment with his doctor revealed that a simple medication timing issue was causing his morning dizziness, a problem that could have been solved with a phone call instead of a car accident. Before starting your car every single time, ask yourself this simple question: do I feel as alert and focused as I did when I passed my driving test? If the answer is anything other than absolutely yes, find another way to reach your destination. Keep a list of 3 reliable transportation alternatives in your wallet: family members, taxi services, or ride-sharing apps. Don't gamble with lives over a few minutes of inconvenience. Thing 4. Never isolate yourself from social connections. Cutting yourself off from regular social interaction after 70 is more dangerous to your health than smoking, obesity, or high blood pressure, according to groundbreaking research from Harvard Medical School's Department of Social Medicine. Dr. Robert Waldinger's Harvard study of adult development, which has followed subjects for over 80 years, found that social isolation increases mortality risk by 26% in seniors and accelerates cognitive decline at rates comparable to severe chronic diseases. Loneliness literally changes your brain chemistry and immune function in ways that dramatically shorten your lifespan. When you withdraw from social connections, your brain interprets isolation as a threat and triggers chronic stress responses that damage your cardiovascular system, weaken your immune defenses, and accelerate cellular aging. Harvard researchers discovered that socially isolated seniors show brain changes similar to those seen in trauma victims, including increased inflammation and disrupted sleep patterns. The absence of regular, meaningful conversations and shared experiences literally rewires your neural pathways in ways that promote depression, anxiety, and faster cognitive decline. Clarence, a 74-year-old retired engineer from Portland, gradually stopped attending his weekly poker game and church services after his best friend moved to another state. Within 6 months, Clarence was sleeping poorly, felt constantly anxious, and his family noticed he seemed confused and forgetful. When his daughter encouraged him to rejoin his social activities and add a weekly volunteer commitment at the local library, Clarence's mood and mental sharpness returned to normal within just 8 weeks. Schedule one meaningful social interaction every week that involves face-to-face conversation lasting at least 30 minutes. This could be coffee with a neighbor, volunteering at a local organization, joining a senior center activity, or attending religious services. Make this social appointment as non-negotiable as a medical appointment because your life literally depends on it. Loneliness is a silent killer, but connection is powerful medicine that you can access starting today. Place 1. Never go to medical appointments alone. Attending medical appointments without an advocate or support person after 70 dramatically increases your risk of missing critical health information and makes you vulnerable to medical errors that could be life-threatening. Research from Johns Hopkins Patient Advocacy Institute shows that seniors who attend appointments alone retain only 30% of important medical information discussed during visits, compared to 85% retention when accompanied by an advocate. The complex medical terminology, multiple instructions, and emotional stress of health concerns make it nearly impossible for anyone to process and remember everything discussed during appointments. Medical appointments after 70 often involve complex treatment decisions, medication adjustments, and important lifestyle recommendations that can significantly impact your independence and quality of life. Johns Hopkins researchers found that seniors with advocates present during appointments are 70% more likely to catch potential medication errors, ask important follow-up questions, and receive appropriate referrals to specialists when needed. Your advocate serves as a second set of eyes and ears, ensuring that nothing important is missed or misunderstood. Dolores, a 71-year-old from Phoenix, attended a cardiology appointment alone and thought she understood her new treatment plan perfectly. However, she misheard critical instructions about her blood thinner dosage and took twice the recommended amount for 2 weeks. When her daughter finally accompanied her to a follow-up appointment, they discovered the dosage error that could have caused a dangerous bleeding episode. Having her daughter present prevented a potentially life-threatening medication mistake. Bring a trusted family member or friend to every medical appointment, or ask your doctor's office about recording visits on your smartphone so you can review important information later. If no one can accompany you, hire a professional patient advocate or ask about telephone speaker options that allow a family member to participate remotely. Prepare a list of questions before each appointment and designate your advocate to take detailed notes. Your health is too important to navigate alone. Place 2. Never go to unfamiliar places without backup. Venturing to unfamiliar locations without a safety backup plan puts you at serious risk if you experience a medical emergency, get lost, or encounter unexpected problems. The National Institute on Aging's emergency response research shows that seniors who experience health crises in unfamiliar locations wait an average of 6 hours longer for help compared to those who have location-sharing technology and emergency contacts activated. When you're in an unknown area and something goes wrong, every minute counts, and having immediate access to help can mean the difference between a minor incident and a life-threatening situation. Unfamiliar environments present unique challenges for seniors, including confusing layouts, poor lighting, uneven surfaces, and lack of nearby assistance if problems arise. The National Institute on Aging found that seniors are 300% more likely to fall or become disoriented in unfamiliar settings compared to familiar environments. Without a backup plan, a simple trip to a new medical facility, shopping center, or social venue can quickly become dangerous if you experience dizziness, confusion, chest pain, or any other health concern. Vincent, a 72-year-old from Denver, drove to a new medical specialist across town without telling anyone his destination or expected return time. During the appointment, Vincent felt chest pain but was too embarrassed to mention it and drove home feeling increasingly unwell. He collapsed in his driveway 3 hours later, and paramedics later explained that his heart attack could have been treated much more effectively if he'd received help immediately when symptoms started at the medical office. Before visiting any unfamiliar location, share your exact destination, planned route, and expected return time with at least 2 people who can check on you if you don't return as scheduled. Download a location sharing app on your smartphone and activate it whenever you travel to new places. Carry a card with emergency contact information and any medical conditions clearly listed. Never assume that help will be readily available in unfamiliar environments. Place 3. Never go to crowded events during peak illness seasons. Attending crowded gatherings during flu season, holidays, or other peak illness periods dramatically increases your risk of contracting serious infections that can be life-threatening after 70. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that seniors over 70 are 5 times more likely to develop severe complications from respiratory infections compared to younger adults. And crowded indoor events create perfect conditions for rapid disease transmission. Your immune system becomes less effective at fighting off infections as you age, making what might be a minor cold for a younger person potentially deadly for you. Crowded events during peak illness seasons expose you to hundreds of people who may be carrying viruses or bacteria, many of whom don't realize they're contagious yet. CDC research shows that respiratory infections spread 400% faster in crowded indoor environments, and seniors who attend large gatherings during high transmission periods are hospitalized at rates 300% higher than those who avoid crowds during these times. The temporary enjoyment of a crowded event isn't worth risking weeks in the hospital or permanent damage to your health. Lucille, a 73-year-old from Chicago, insisted on attending her grandson's crowded graduation ceremony in December, despite her daughter's concerns about flu season. Within 3 days, Lucille developed what seemed like a simple cold, but her symptoms rapidly worsened into pneumonia that required 2 weeks of hospitalization. Her doctors explained that her immune system couldn't fight the infection effectively, and avoiding crowded events during peak illness season could have prevented the entire ordeal. Plan your social calendar strategically by scheduling important events during lower risk periods and avoiding large gatherings from November through March when respiratory infections peak. When you must attend crowded events, sit near exits for better air circulation, avoid shaking hands or hugging, and leave immediately if you notice people coughing or sneezing nearby. Your immune system can't fight infections like it used to, so prevention is your most powerful defense. Indeed, place 4. Never go to high-risk areas without support. Navigating areas with stairs, wet surfaces, uneven pavement, or poor lighting without proper support significantly increases your fall risk and could result in injuries that end your independence permanently. Emergency room data shows that 60% of serious fall injuries in seniors over 70 occur in predictable high-risk environments that could have been made safer with simple precautions. One moment of overconfidence in a dangerous area can lead to fractures, head injuries, or other trauma that requires months of recovery and may leave you permanently disabled. High-risk environments become exponentially more dangerous after 70 because of natural changes in balance, vision, reaction time, and bone density that make falls more likely and more severe. Emergency medicine research reveals that seniors who fall in high-risk areas are 400% more likely to require surgery and 200% more likely to lose independent living status compared to those who fall in safer environments. What seems like a minor inconvenience to wait for help or use safety equipment can prevent a catastrophic injury that changes your life forever. Theodore, a 75-year-old from Atlanta, decided to retrieve something from his basement storage area alone on a rainy day when the wooden stairs were slightly damp. He slipped on the third step down and fractured 3 ribs, requiring emergency surgery and 6 weeks of recovery, during which he couldn't live independently. Theodore now uses the handrail every time and never goes to the basement when conditions aren't perfect, realizing that his storage items weren't worth risking his independence. Identify every high-risk area in your daily environment, including stairs, bathrooms, basements, and outdoor walkways, and establish safety protocols for each location before you need them. Install adequate lighting, handrails, and non-slip surfaces wherever possible, and never rush through these areas regardless of time pressure. Always use assistive devices like handrails, walking sticks, or grab bars, even if you think you don't need them. Make your environment safe before it makes you unsafe. These 12 life-changing guidelines can transform your 70s from a time of constant worry into your most confident and independent decade yet. Every senior who thrives past 70 follows these essential rules, while those who struggle ignore them at their own peril. You now have the power to choose which path you'll take, and that choice will determine whether you spend your remaining years thriving or merely surviving. Which of these 12 deadly mistakes have you been making without realizing the danger? Share your honest answer in the comments below, because your experience could help save another senior's life. Hit that like button if you're ready to make these changes starting today, and share this video with any senior who deserves to live safely and independently for decades to come. These 12 rules could be the difference between a long, healthy life and becoming another preventable statistic.